We're on our 7th day on a 14-day tour from Copenhagen to Stockholm. We're leaving Lithuania to go to Latvia. This is now 5 countries and are supposed to see 3 more in this trip. However, as most of our other travels, we take a vacation after a vacation. We'll be traveling more on our own after a hectic scheduled package tour to meander, savor the local food, and shop at our own pace. We're now going from capital to capital, which is from Vilnius to Riga. The beauty of Vilnius for me lie in its resilience from its turbulent history and the way it recovered. Riga's beauty will be more aesthetic, unexpected, and a truly pleasant surprise. Latvia is home to a large number of ethnic Russians. Until World War II, Latvia also had significant minorities of ethnic Germans and Jews. Latvia is historically predominantly Lutheran Protestant, except for the Latgale region in the southeast, which has historically been predominantly Roman Catholic. 30,000 Jews were shot in Latvia in 1941. Another 30,000 Jews from the Riga ghetto were killed in the Rumbula forest to reduce overpopulation in the ghetto and make room for more Jews being brought in from Germany and the West. More than 200,000 Latvian citizens died during World War II, including approximately 75,000 Latvian Jews murdered during the Nazi occupation. During the Soviet era, anywhere from 120,000 to as many as 300,000 Latvians took refuge from the Soviet army by fleeing to Germany and Sweden. In the post-war period, Latvia was made to adopt Soviet farming methods. Rural areas were forced into collectivization. Since Latvia had maintained a well-developed infrastructure and educated specialists, Moscow decided to base some of the Soviet Union's most advanced manufacturing in Latvia. New industry was created in Latvia. The Latvian Soviet Socialist Republic, along with the other Baltic republics, was allowed greater autonomy. And in 1988, the old pre-war flag of Latvia flew again, replacing the Soviet Latvian flag as the official flag. The Republic of Latvia restored full independence in 1991 in the aftermath of the failed Soviet coup attempt. Before reaching the capital Riga, we visit the palace of a duke, which had been restored and become one of the major tourist attractions of Latvia. This is the Rundale Palace.
I'm your local guide. I heard you all have your tickets. We'll need them to go upstairs.
This is one of the 2 major Baroque palaces built for the Dukes of Courland in what is now Latvia, the other being Helgava Palace. In both World Wars, this palace had been used as a hospital. The style of the palace had changed 3 times during its lifetime, from Baroque to Rococo to Neoclassical. we've come across large, medium, and small palaces, and this is more of the medium one.
Fashion had changed, and Baroque rooms were kind of outdated. That's why after the Egyptian turn, the second construction period was started, and approximately between 1764 and 68, all the rooms of this house were redesigned in the Rococo style.
Palace's attractions also come from the furnishings the palace has, of which the Rondale Palace has not all that much. Paintings were preserved, but if you imagine what it had gone through, it would not be surprising. The land area and the gardens, which we did not see, looked good in their website. The problem with package tour is the schedule that has to be followed. When it comes to must-see palaces of the same genre, the Palace of Versailles in France, for me, would be the one of all medieval palaces. The Rondale is a byproduct of the older Palace of Versailles. On the small window of the screen is the Palace of Versailles, where the type of decorations used are of the same type but extremely more ornate. The Gardens of Versailles at 800 hectares is still one of the largest in the world. It's no wonder because the Palace of Versailles was owned by the King of France, Louis XVI, and the Rondale only by a duke. Their fates though ended up differently, as the Duke of Rondale was re-established in his Duchy of Courland by Catherine II of Russia, and Louis XVI being guillotined. The Palace of Versailles is one of two very famous palaces wherein its last occupants were overthrown and executed. Both occupants lived lavishly while their subjects, or constituents, lacked the basic necessities of life, such as food. The other palace I'm talking about is the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg, Russia, also known as the Hermitage or Hermitage. It is now also a museum. Its former occupant, Tsar Nicholas II, was overthrown during the Russian Revolution. There are a few places where, when you enter a room, you'll just be completely overwhelmed. A place which can make you say wow, or make hair stand up from your arms or behind your neck. The Hall of Mirrors in the Palace of Versailles and the Armorial Hall at the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg are two of those places. There are a few more in different parts of the world which constitute other forms of art. The Hermitage has no such 800-hectare garden, but its interior and content makes it a major World Heritage Site. Its art collection is not only huge, but is extremely important. The big difference in the contents of the Hermitage lie in the requirement of the Russian ambassadors to accumulate beautiful objects for the Tsar during those times. The two Madonna and Child paintings by Leonardo da Vinci are its most prized possession. It also has a stage where outstanding Russian ballet can be seen. The Versailles and the Hermitage are a treat to be seen. However, a fair amount of warning should be heeded since it has days when the quantity of visitors it has may just be too much. Just like a crowd at Disneyland during spring break. Extreme heat during the summer may also hamper a leisurely walk in its gardens.
Fashion changed. Rococo came to be seen as tasteless and frivolous. It was replaced by neoclassical style, which drew its inspiration from ancient Greece and Rome. So here in this reception room, and also in the next three rooms,
And finally, into the neoclassical style. The palace was renovated and the flamboyant ornamentations were made simpler. The Rundale Palace Museum organizes exhibitions on various themes related to the history of the palace, Latvian art from early periods, decorative art and garden art, as well as themes related to the history of civilization. 15 rooms on the ground floor of the palace are intended for a permanent exhibition of European and Latvian applied arts from the Gothic style to Art Nouveau, which will cover the period from the 15th to the 20th century. The first exhibition halls were opened in 2012. The exhibition is planned to be completed in 2018. So from the Rundale Palace, we proceed to the capital of Latvia, Riga. Riga was founded in the year 1201. The population of Riga is 650,000. Riga is known for Jugendstil architecture, which is a type of Art Nouveau architecture that emerged in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Art Nouveau architecture in the center of Riga makes up roughly 1/3 of all building. This makes the Latvian capital the city with the highest concentration of Art Nouveau architecture anywhere in the world. Art Nouveau is an ornamental style of art that flourished between 1890 and 1910. Art Nouveau was inspired by Celtic art and natural forms and structures, particularly the curved lines of plants and flowers. In the morning, we'll be treated to the unexpected pleasant surprise for us at Riga. It's Jugendstil architecture.
Well, first Rita. She's first our local guide, yeah?
Morning. Labrit.
Labrit,
Labrit.
Labrit. And then first is standing right next to the entrance of our coach is Mr. Yuris.
Yuris. Good morning.
Good morning.
So these two people would be sort of familiar.
It was an auspicious day to be in Riga, as it was the day they were celebrating 810 years of Riga. Some of the celebration will be held in this street, Alberta Street. The aim of Art Nouveau was to escape the eclectic historical styles that had come to dominate the late 19th century and so modernizing them. Inspiration was drawn from both organic and geometric forms. merging flowing, natural designs with more angular and rigid contours. As the Art Nouveau movement spread through Europe, it evolved in different forms in different countries. Modern style in France, Secession style in Austria, and Jugendstil in Germany. One of the most prolific and revered Jugendstil architects was Michael Eisenstein. The reason the style is so prevalent is that at the height of the Art Nouveau period, Riga was experiencing a financial boom. Most of Riga's Jugendstil buildings date from between 1904 and 1914. The exteriors of the buildings are constantly being maintained while the interiors are kept up to date. Riga is one of the key economic and financial centers of the Baltic states. Roughly half of all the jobs in Latvia are in Riga, and the city generates more than 50% of Latvia's GDP. Alberta Street and the central square of Riga looked like an outdoor museum with all the Art Nouveau buildings. It was an uplifting experience since we did not know what to expect from a former state of the Soviet Union. We felt like we were looking at giant livable sculptures in a museum at Alberta Street and the central square of Riga. How much joy and pride the people living inside these works of art must feel. Art Nouveau goes by many names, but its look is unmistakable. Filled with romantic flair, the style emphasized craftsmanship over the industrialization that was occurring at the time. Alberta Street is one memorable place. It made our tour enlightening and inspiring. There are more stunning central squares in the larger cities of Europe than the central square of Riga. However, what made Alberta Street special was its residential environment. It looked like it just happened to be there instead of being there because it was designed to be there. This is the point where it pays if you thought of what shoes to wear if you're walking on cobblestones. Our hotel was just about 1 kilometer from the center of town. It was not difficult, but it was time-consuming if you want to go to and from. With a population of about 640,000, Riga is the largest city in the 3 Baltic states. It is home to 1/3 of Latvia's population. The love lock typically contains the sweetheart's names or initials and the date. Its key is thrown away, often into the nearby river, to symbolize unbreakable love. Since 2000, love locks have increased worldwide. They are now mostly treated as litter or vandalism. Riga was the European Capital of Culture during 2014, along with Umeå in Sweden. With the Rundale Palace we've just been to, changing from Baroque to Rococo to Neoclassical, and the buildings of Riga mostly of Art Nouveau, the Latvian sense of fashion and art should be fully developed. It's surprising to see at the end of this film how some of this have spilled over to the unusual and bizarre. We could not have asked for better weather for the walk of the day. There was no rain and the weather was cool. The old town of Riga was a treat. There was more to see and its food did not disappoint us. There was no doubt it was to our liking and was not something you would call an acquired taste. The quantity of their serving is more than enough for Asians like us. The sole official language of Latvia is Latvian. While it is now required that all school students learn Latvian, most schools also include English and either German or Russian in their curricula. There are three dialects in Latvian: the Livonian dialect, the High Latvian, and the Middle dialect. English is widely accepted in Latvia, especially in business and tourism. The financial crisis of 2008 also severely disrupted the Latvian economy, primarily as a result of its easy credit bubble. The bubble burst led to a rapidly weakening economy. Latvia had the worst economic performance in 2009, with annual growth rate averaging minus 18%. The acutest problems are in Europe's periphery, where many smaller economies experienced crises strongly reminiscent of past crises in Latin America and Asia. By 2009, Latvia's GDP had fallen by 20%. The economic situation has since 2010 improved, and by 2012, Latvia was described as a success. Unemployment, however, remains high, and GDP remains below the pre-crisis level. The Goths were an East Germanic people, two of whose branches, the Visigoths and the Ostrogoths, played an important role in the fall of the Western Roman Empire and the emergence of medieval Europe. Riga, Latvia. We'll see you again, tape number 7, for more of the festivities in Riga for their 810th year celebration.